Welcome to the Venusian Womb Codes, Volume 1. These teachings are offered as living threads to support your embodiment, intuition, and integration. Settle your body, soften your breath, and receive what is ready to meet you today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Venusian Womb Podcast, Volume 1. This is transmission 6 out of 6. This is our final code of integration. We are so excited to really ground so many of these teachings, these lessons, and take a pause so that we can actually begin to start living the wisdom of these codes. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it.
So the code of integration. What is integration? Integration is the practice of slowing down enough to fully and completely meet your experiences. And this can be any experience. It doesn't have to be just the big ones or those big enlightening moments or those big life lessons that we learn. It really can be your day-to-day things that happen, whatever's going on in your day, slowing down and taking time to just be like, oh, how did this impact me? How did I feel? Did this make me feel like I was more myself? Do I feel like I shut down parts of myself? And just noticing what your experience is, how that shapes you, what happens to you. And then from there, taking that knowledge, what you just learned from it, and noticing how do you want to move forward with it. Because when we integrate, it really allows us to feel into what those experiences have printed onto us and notice how they've impacted us. So let's bring this into an example. When we're thinking of integration, it's really how our insight, our emotions, and our lived experience become embodied wisdom. So we go from knowledge to wisdom. And what this can look like is we'll use the example of learning a new language. When you're learning a new language, we're translating a lot of our language that we know into this new language to make sense of whatever words or sentences are coming out. And that's knowledge. Those are like building blocks of knowledge that we're trying to piece together, gathering up. And once that language becomes fluent and we start even thinking in that language, not needing to translate anymore, it's more embodied. It becomes wisdom. It becomes just something natural that you do. And I also want to use this other example that Milana said before we were talking on this particular code, or just talking about integration in general. Think of a plane that never lands. If you're never landing your plane, you're never integrating. Think of like the experiences you're having as planes that are flying. If you just keep that plane flying and it never comes in grounds, it never comes in anchors or lands, there's no moment to slow down and let the plane just have a moment and integrate and be with all that flying and whatever was happening up in the air. So these are two examples to understand what integration is and what that could kind of feel like and look like.
Thank you so much, Megan. And it's interesting because this was one of the codes that we resisted the most, especially as two girlies living in this world that prioritizes and values hustle and fast pace. It really is a revolutionary act to slow down and to pause and to allow yourself to be. This brings us into our shadow. This brings us into the illusion of progress without integration. And this shows up when we are just continuing to go into the next thing. We're so in our lived experience of our day-to-day life that we're not actually taking a moment to slow down from the momentum and the inertia of doing, to actually sit with ourselves and to listen to our body and to reflect on our lived experience. So again, this is where the integration is bypassed. When we're in the doing, when we're chasing the next breakthrough, instead of sitting with and reflecting and living, like truly being with the lived experience of what you already have experienced, of what you've already gone through. And this is interesting because sometimes we may think that integration is awareness. We may think that if we understand something mentally, we're aware of it, that is the lesson and that's the integration itself. But when we do that, we're halfway there. We're not bringing this awareness into our body and into our lived experience, because the practice of slowing down and taking the time to sit with yourself, to sit with an experience that you just had that maybe had a lesson for you, to really honor that, that is the integration. And that does require that pause. Beyond just the awareness of it, it requires meeting the body and meeting yourself to then be able to start to live the lesson that came through from that experience. Also, change that doesn't stabilize isn't sustainable. So when we are continuously seeking these breakthrough experiences or these next milestones, or, we're fixating on the outcome, we are experiencing change, we are experiencing progress, but that isn't something that we are going to live sustainably in the long term, or we're actually experiencing this change that's in the way we operate. And so again, without that stillness, transformation doesn't stabilize. It doesn't actually anchor into the body, and it's not sustainable. So when we're really trying to experience evolution within our own personal expression and in our own lives, it does take that pause and slowing down to then be able to speed up and go into our next stage of momentum and inertia.
Mm. So the medicine of integration is really coming into wholeness, coming into completion with self, allowing it to come to a completion, as opposed to, like Emily was saying, the go, 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 continuing with the movement, the inertia. It's that pause, that slow down. And it really softens that urgency to need to get to the next thing, to have another breakthrough, to have another aha moment. When if we're constantly living on these aha moments, that can get really overwhelming because it feels like there's this never-ending lesson, this never-ending I need to get somewhere and learn something new about myself, which follows and gets stuck in that loop of like productivity. And my worth is determined by how much I do and how much I learn and how good of a human I am and how much I heal. But when we allow ourselves to slow down and stop, reflect, or do nothing, because integration doesn't have to just be reflection and actually doing work. It could really just be doing nothing, going and laying out in the sun and
Mhm.
allowing that pause to be the integration itself. Through that integration, you build so much more self trust with yourself by staying with your experience, by meeting the experience. And it could be just those big aha moments, but it could also just be anything that happened, the good times, the bad times, the I had a boring day today, let me integrate that. Staying with yourself in the moment is such a big part of building that trust with self. It helps you create more safety for your body, your nervous system. It helps you see that I am safe. It helps you regulate to just whatever is there. It allows change to become more sustainable and not performative, not that go, 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 hustle, urgent culture that we have going on in the background all the time. And it helps reclaim parts of yourself that were once fragmented or that may be exiled. A lot of those parts that were maybe shamed or shunned or outcasted. It allows us to feel them, see them, be with them, meet them in ways that if we keep going, we never slow down enough to see, feel, or hear them.
Mhm.
So integration really teaches us that nothing is wasted, that slowing down is not a waste of time, that pausing is not a waste of time. It's actually probably the most important part of the process of learning, of growing, of being human, because without it, we don't really know what we're doing because we're go, 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 going all the time.
We're not consciously living.
It's very unconscious, very happening in the background. And every emotion, every rupture, every opening has wisdom when it's met, felt, and held. And again, I want to be so clear that this wisdom doesn't have to be this big life changing moment. It's just wisdom. It's teaching you something about yourself. And there's so many little things for us to learn about ourselves that we may be very unconscious on. And this integration, this pause, this reflection, this doing nothing helps us see more clearly what we're not seeing. And this is really where transformation roots. This is where your becoming, your being, your self trust, your who you are stabilizes and is very well known to you consciously.
so many codes in this lesson alone. And I want to say this is also where you see how you are living. You see how is your being responding to the way that you are operating in the world. And again, it can just be something like, oh, I had a boring day. Okay, let's sit with that boredom. Why are we bored? What stimulation are we maybe seeking? Why are we And again, sometimes there isn't an answer. Sometimes it's just I'm bored. Okay, let me just sit in the boredness. What does this what can this offer me? And it really does require that pause of what can this offer me? And I think that that question is such a beautiful mantra to be able to have as a doorway to just be it, to just meet it, to be with it and not be like, oh, I don't like this emotion. I don't like this boredom. I want to change it. Let me do something. Let me go into the next thing to change the state without what can this offer me? And again, sometimes it's just a pause. Sometimes it's just a breath. Sometimes it's a super aha moment. And it's beautiful to be able to understand this because then we can inform how we're moving through life.
And in
So this
that,
is
it's noticing I just wanna add one
Mhm.
little piece. It's
Carry on.
noticing that urgency that we're constantly wanting to fix ourselves, change our state of being. In the integration, y that's you're not allowing yourself to change because you're meeting what's there. So I just think that's a nice little piece to add there as well.
Yes. Yes. It's like we integrate as we're experiencing the sensation or the emotion or the experience. And then we like understand. And then we have to integrate after also to continue to like practice that understanding or that awareness. Like integration is not only like after a super big experience or aha moment has happened. Integration is something that we're doing on our day to day. We're doing in
Mhm.
pockets throughout our day. So this is giving us some words to feel into, feeling into the shadow, which is again the illusion of the fact that we're progressing without it actually being embodied. We're going to call this bypassing. Is we're bypassing a very crucial part of the process of transformation when we're not taking the time to integrate. This is where we feed into that overconsumption, the overdoing, the escaping, the chasing. Sometimes we don't even realize that we're chasing something, but we're always on the go. And that's where, again, being able to take that pause and integrate what are we chasing and why are we chasing something? Why do we feel like we have to chase something? What are we hoping that that's going to prove to us, right? It's so all of these different things, all of these things are just doorways for you to feel into intellectualizing, fragmentation, avoidance, the restlessness of I can't actually sit and do nothing. Why is that? What can this offer you? Again, coming back to that mantra, what can this offer me? And then we have the lesson, which is the integration. This really is the presence. This is the embodiment. This is the repetition of these very simple lessons that this awareness is bringing to us of how we can then start to actually integrate this awareness in our day to day. For myself, that's look like every time that I notice that I'm shallow breathing, I will take a minute and take at least 5 deep breaths. And then from there, try to be more conscious of how I'm breathing. Super simple way to integrate in your day. And again, it's those pockets of how are you actually slowing yourself down, especially when you're noticing that you're getting activated or you're getting maybe a bit overwhelmed or there's stress and there's cortisol moving in your body. Maybe there's overstimulation. Okay, how are we integrating that awareness? What can this offer me? Maybe I need to take a few deep breaths. Right. So again, these are just some words to feel into. We have capacity, stabilization, coherence, repetition, presence, embodiment, and stillness. And without further ado,
So that concludes our Venusian Room Volume 1 codes. Closing with integration. It has been a journey to do this. A lot has been integrating as we film this particular episode, and we'll be shifting gears for Venusian Room Season 2. This season is honestly going to be the creation that Milena and I are the most excited for. I don't wanna say the most excited because 'cause we've been excited for a lot of our creations, but the most grounded excitement we've had for anything we've created because it's very clear for both of us what it is our intention is with it. And I think as we've created so many things over the past 2 years, our intention has become more and more crystal clear, and it's become more embodied. All this knowledge that we've been learning through facilitating, hosting a podcast, trying to start a collective, all these things we've tried to do has been knowledge that has slowly been building itself into wisdom. And this wisdom is teaching us a lot of how to move forward with Venusian Boom. And where we're moving forward to is with Venusian Boom
Mhm.
season 2. Its title is What's True Anymore? Trusting Yourself in a World That Tells You Who to Be. And it's going to be, just think discernment. We're going to
Mhm.
leave you with, we're not going to explore too much exactly what it is, but think this is a season dedicated to discernment for you, for me, for Milena, for whatever guest speakers we have come on, to discern what is true for you, because we're not going to tell you what's true for you.
Mm. And it's really, I think I'll just add this reflection is in a world that is filled with information, with the ways that we have evolved as humanity in the past few decades, even just in the past few years, we now have these beautiful tools and technology of AI to be able to provide us with so much information at our fingertips. This is the most informed that we have been as humanity in terms of like how information is being shared. And now, because of that, there is an oversaturation of information in our field, in our mind, in our life, on our phones, on social media. So now, again, this whole season is about how are we practicing discernment in a world where there is so many sometimes contradicting truths that can both exist at the same time, that might both be valid. And it's really just starting to practice that. So we're going to leave it with that. I also don't want to go too into it because the field is still forming and the field is still unfolding of what exactly this is going to start looking like. But this will definitely be one of the most meaningful bodies of work, especially at this time where there are so many things that are being revealed in the light, that are being revealed on the news, that are being revealed around the world. And it's definitely bringing a lot more people into questioning these things so that they can come to their own truth. So beyond our season 2, we still have our Venusian Womb Women's Retreat that we are going to be hosting June 12th to June 14th. This is titled You Are the Muse. And we will be talking a lot more about this on our stories, on our Instagram. We will definitely have an episode dedicated to it on our podcast, but it really is just about connecting to your creative expression, connecting to what is expressing through you and what are the forms that you feel called to express yourself. That's really all it is in the most simple form. And it's when we are with other people that are expressing themselves and exploring what that expression is, then we can be inspired by their expression and by their process. And that could inspire us more in our own and to be celebrated in this process of learning how you're expressing yourself, exploring that. It is a journey of exploration. And to be able to do that in a space where you are celebrated, where it's playful and there isn't this pressure of you need to be perfect, you need to be good, you need to perform. We're not, it's really just we're here and we're just innocently, playfully exploring ourselves and how we express ourselves. Thank you for listening to this volume, and we are so excited to continue to bring more into the field.
Thank you for being here and tending these codes with us. If today's transmission stirred something, allow yourself a moment to ground through breath, stillness, or movement. You can return to these episodes whenever you need reorientation or support. Until next time, keep listening to your body and let the womb guide you.